While we're getting started, if you haven't already, make sure you listen. There's. For nostalgia's sake, could you read us the rundown on
the menu?
We missed you. Oh, thank you.
To our guests from Ogden School District, seriously, you can go get food now.
I tried. I already tried.
Please, so I don't feel so out of place. Do eat. So you're going to- I'm a fan of food.
Now, if you don't eat now, we'll make you stay till the end of the meeting when the rest of us who are presenting actually do eat. So we don't want to have food in our teeth while we're speaking.
A little bit of a hint. Picture taken on the board.
Okay, we'll get started. It is great to see everyone here today and in living color. Y'all look great. So let's see, we've had the photos taken and we're excusing today Don Salazar. His father passed away a couple of days ago, so go for him. Thoughts and prayers are with Don. And Cameron will realize you'll be here for a little bit and have to take off, so you're definitely excused. Today, we'd like to also recognize some guests that we have with us. Adam McLeod, Student of the Year. Jess Lee Anderson is on Zoom. There she is. Hi, Jess Lee. I'd like to welcome Superintendent Luke Rasmussen from Ogden City School District. Maria Milligan, Marketing. Over here. Maria, good to have you. Is Jared with us too? I don't see him on Zoom. Jared Haynes may be joining us on Zoom. Joyce Wilson, we just heard from Joyce. Brent Murdoch is over here. Heather Gerard, right here, thank you, with Ogden School District, and Chad Carpenter from Ogden School District. So welcome, and we're excited for the goings on with Ogden School District. So let's see, we will begin today with the introduction of our new board members, and we have some existing board members that have been reappointed. So President Taggart.
Well, we're really excited to introduce our two newest board members, Corey Anderson and Christine Jacobson Ware. We've been waiting a long time. I feel like it's almost been a gestational period trying to get the two of these individuals on our board. It's taken some time. As those of you who are governor appointed, you have, other than our district partners and our Weber State trustee, you have to be appointed by the governor and confirmed by the state senate. And that process takes months and months and months. So we were excited. The governor finally reviewed all the information, appointed both Corey and Christine, and it took another 3 months for the Senate to meet to approve them. And so in the meantime, both Corey and Christine have been participating in our board meetings as guests. They have been receiving all of our board materials. Corey is not a stranger to obviously our community or to the Tech College. And as you can read in her bio, she is currently works with formerly PricewaterhouseCoopers. They're now capital P, lowercase w. We don't know what Waterhouse did to get the lowercase and uppercase C. And we're really excited to have someone that comes from that industry, because we haven't had a board member represent the finance industry, and PwC does a lot more than that. And we really appreciate that. But Corey has a lot of experience having worked with R&O construction. She's actually even worked with Salt Lake Community College in some of their areas. So she has a really broad-based experience, has some family-owned businesses. And so she really understands the role of technical colleges. In her role at R&O Construction, she worked heavily with our custom fit department and became one of our biggest champions in our community for custom fit and the impact custom fit has in helping your incumbent workforce be more productive. And so we're very, very excited to have Corey here. I got to know Corey when we both served on the Chamber Executive Committee, and she is not shy. She takes her duties as a board member very seriously. When we asked if she would serve on this board, she asked, what do you expect out of a board member? And we want board members to ask us challenging questions and making sure that we're doing our duty to better meet the needs of our students in the community that we serve. So Corey, anything you want to add? Did I do you justice?
No, I'm thrilled to be done jesting. And to be here and to learn from all of you and see if I can help contribute.
Thank you. Christine Jacobson-Ware also has had a long association with the college. She is the owner of Wasatch Care Pharmacy, is a pharmacist, and we are thrilled to have her on our board. She, like Will, has been on one of our occupational advisory committees for pharmacy tech since we started our pharmacy tech program. She is asked to remain on that. She says, I just love working with the programs. She's a very highly sought after speaker for professional development for pharmacists and pharmacy technicians. A great stalwart in our community, is very highly respected, and we're excited to have her help represent the healthcare community on our board. So with that, we will now have the board secretary, Tina, give the oath of office.
Okay, and it looks like I'm just gonna do it with Corey. And I'm gonna do it with you, Nancy. We should have done that prior to. We would have done it with Mark and Slade as well, but they're not here. So basically just repeat after me. I state your name.
Nancy Blair, Corey Anderson.
Having been elected or appointed to the office of. Is that too long?
Having or been elected to the office of
Trustee of the Ogden-Weber Technical College Board of Trustees.
trustee,
Of the Ogden-Weber Technical Board of Trustees. Board of Trustees.
trustee,
Solemnly swear.
do solemnly swear
I will support,
that I will support
obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Utah,
and the Constitution of the State of Utah.
and that I will discharge the duties
I will discharge the duties
of office with fidelity.
with fidelity.
But if after the meeting, you guys could see me, I have to notarize your oath, then we should be good to go.
President and Tina, our new trustees. This is great. Vice President Burchell.
Adam, could you stand up for us? So we just want to take a minute, as you know, in our board meetings, we like to do a student highlight and highlight our students because this is our product. And Adam, we just finished our Student of the Year process over the last, what's it been? A month and a half, 2 months, something like that. Since, yeah, 2 months. So we have students submit and faculty submit candidates for the Student of the Year. They go through a process of interviews and presentations. And a month and a half ago, Adam was awarded the Student of the Year for 2022. I just want to recognize Adam and detail Adam for you for a minute. If I get any of this wrong, Adam, shout at me, okay? So Adam graduated from high school in 2008. He enrolled in college, and he enrolled in college for about a year and decided, you know what, I might want to do something different. So he went into the Air Force and was in the Air Force for 10 years. separated from the Air Force and then went back to school at the University of Utah for about a year.
Just a little over a year.
Just a little over a year, and decided that's not maybe what I want to do. So
Doing engineering and I didn't want to sit at a desk.
sit at a desk, okay. And started researching other opportunities and found the machinist program here at Ogden-Weber. And is almost complete. He's got about 60 hours left in his couple of final projects to complete. And he'll graduate with his certificate in machining. Currently working at Williams International, correct? Couple of things that I just want to highlight, which is super cool. Adam enjoys making things, being hands-on and precision required in machining. He also knows there's a solid demand for workers in the field and is be able to provide for his family in half the traditional time of a 4-year program. He enjoys riding motorcycles on or off-road in his spare time, and he's an officer with the local chapter of the Combat Veterans Motorcycle Association. So we just want to congratulate Adam for not only the stuff that he's doing in the machining program and at Williams, but being our Student of the Year for 2022. So congratulations, Adam. We open it up for questions. If you have any questions for Adam, we can entertain that too. So
One of the things that I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to have you go to.
oh yeah, because the camera, that's right.
Right.
We're looking at my
I
back.
want our guests, I want board member Anderson and Jared to be able to see Adam.
That's a much better view.
What made you select machining?
I like making things with my hands and working on stuff and fixing bikes and just there. Machining is very precision oriented. Work with your hands and everything. Is the background thing. I like it. I like it. So, it's not like super labor intensive, but it's got a lot of brain power.
Adam, what have you found the most challenging part of the machining program?
Challenging approach. I've actually been involved with previous military experience and personal experience. Most of it's come very natural and easy to me. It's like I should figure this out years ago. As far as challenging goes, the actual programming of the CNC machines has been quite challenging. It's great to see that jumbling of those letters turns into parts of the machine.
One quick follow-up question. What can we do better to let people know about our machining program? Because as you mentioned, there's a huge demand for machinists in our community.
I think that best place to start is in high schools. I don't know what it's like with you guys' high school type hours this year, but I know when I was going through high school, I went to Catholic college prep school in Colorado. There wasn't any mention at all of machining or any type of skilled labor. Everything was doing with fingers. Everything. So I didn't even consider it back then. I think I should sell my eyes a little bit more back then. That's tough.
You don't need to.
A couple of years ago, I mentioned to Matt that I purchased a CNC machine and his response was, I'm sorry. If we can nail those CNC, we'll do well.
Well, if it's giving you trouble, I thought.
Any other questions for Adam? Thanks, Adam, for being here.
Got some business we need to take care of. Tina sent out in advance of our meeting today, the board packet that was last held on October 28th. Adam, you better get to work or something. And hopefully you had a chance to review those. Are there any corrections or changes or discussion on the minutes from that meeting in October? If there are none, we'll entertain a motion for approval of the meeting minutes held on October 28th, 2020. Everyone? Thank you. Discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Thank you. Any opposed? President Taggart, we are excited about number 5.
Well, I'm going to introduce this and then turn the time over to Vice President Burchell, who has really been carrying the water on this with our great partners from Ogden School District. As we share with you each month, you've seen that we've had a significant increase over the last 5 years with our partnership with our secondary partners, with both Ogden School District, with our charter schools, and with Weber School District. Last year, we had a little bit of a dip in enrollment because of COVID, and a lot of our high school students weren't sure if they were on an A day or B day at their home school, if they were hybrid, or if there was no school. But our secondary students have come back in a substantial way over the past 6 months. And with Ogden School District, for over 5 years, we've had double-digit increases in enrollment, not only with our on-campus programs, but some of the partnerships that we have where we provide early college coursework at Ben Lomond, at Washington High School, at George Washington High School, and at Ogden High School. One of the things that we have found is that, and this is nothing that is earth-shattering because national and state data shows this, if a high school student concentrates in a CTE area, they're more likely to graduate on time. They're more likely to enroll in post-secondary education. And third, they're more likely to complete a certificate or degree on time. In the state of Utah, we have a challenge right now. Only about 50% of high school graduating seniors within 3 years are accessing any form of post-secondary education. And those that do are struggling to graduate in 6 years to get a bachelor's degree. But not kids who access CTE. It is not only the secret for them to complete a medical certificate, it's the secret for them to complete any degree. Ogden School District has championed this, and they have shared data with us, and they've seen students that are accessing the tech college are more likely to graduate on time. In our community, we have a vested interest as a college to have students graduate from high school, and we know that the secret is to get that tech certificate. So the district approached us and said, hey, we have great success. We have an issue here. We need more students to go to the tech college. And we need to remove the barriers of transportation and barriers of, we're on an AB schedule, you have a different schedule. For a student to attend 1 hour at Ogden Tech, they're going to lose an hour and a half on each end of that. What can we do to increase the number of students who graduate on time and have a post-secondary certificate? That's a good headache to have. So they approached us with a proposal that Chad is going to share with you. I can give you all kinds of data points. But the bottom line is, this is what is right for our community. Students and employers and families are the winners out of this. Increased graduation rates for both of us is just a byproduct. The students and the employers that are going to be hiring them and the impact they make on their families, that's really the winners in that. Chad.
Thanks, President. He's done a really good job in setting the table, and I appreciate our partners at Ogden School District being here, Superintendent Rasmussen and Heather and Chad. They'll correct anything that I say that's wrong. So I know we sent out the memo, and I don't want to just rehash what was on the memo, but I do want to just explain in a real high level what we're trying to accomplish here with this partnership. For the high school students, it allows early access to credit acquisition through competency-based learning towards graduation and early college technical education. That's, like President Taggart said, we want to offer that to as many students as we possibly can. And what this Pathway High School, and it's the building up here on Monroe, I know President mentioned that they would utilize, that would allow students to be on campus to work on their high school curriculum in addition to accessing our technical programs here at the college at the same time. So they would be here. the really nice thing is some of the learning and competencies they'll be developing and demonstrating in our programs might work for some high school requirement. So it's kind of a two-way road. If they're demonstrating those competencies and showing those competencies in our technical program, then they wouldn't have to do that at the high school. And it would suffice that credit for graduation of the high school. So anticipate about 150 students on A day and 150 students on B day. So an additional 300 students on campus. Once this gets going, it will also allow us high school students to access some of our longer programs and be able to complete those programs while they're in high school. Whereas sometimes, you know, when a student enrolls in a high school student enrolls in a longer program, like President said, they're really sacrificing some of their high school schedule right now to do that, and it takes longer to get through the program. This will allow those students to access some of those longer programs, complete the program while they're in high school, tuition free, in addition to getting their high school requirements done in graduation, and then entering the workforce with that certificate in addition to the diploma. So we're super excited about this. We think it's going to be not only an opportunity for our programs to maybe do some things differently than we've done before, because we'll know a number of high school students that might be accessing like machining, and we didn't pay Adam to say what he said about, you know, having this ingrained in high school students in an earlier time. This will help with that. And we'll be able to do some things in our programs that maybe we haven't done before, knowing that we have 8 students interested in machining at the high school. We might be able to do some different things with those 8 students than we currently are doing when they're coming in onesies and twosies based on their schedule at the high school. So yeah, 25. Okay, 25. Oh, 125. Machining, 120. 100. Abe Day will be just machining. Perfect. Any questions? Yeah, Cameron.
When they come on an A or B day, they stay there the entire day.
That's the intent. They'll be here. They'll either be in our program or at the Pathway High School building doing one of two things, right? We're either working towards a high school competency or accessing a technical program. Yep, on campus. Any other questions? I want to give some time to Superintendent Rasmussen too, and Heather, and if they have any things that I might miss or things that they want to highlight.
We just have our one pager here that we can kind of hand out to you that shows some of the things we're going to be doing. And then Heather, did you have anything to add about what Chad said? No.
I mean, just kind of in relationship.
So Heather is she's our pathways director. So she's kind of all things students accessing post-secondary education, our CD director, but more than that with pathways. She's spearheading a lot of the work for Chad.
And I think in addition to that, the real power behind this, outside of that relevancy piece, right, which we can Adam speak about, and the tie to the competency is the fluidity that this will create for students. So one of the problems that we run into with trying to get more and more students coming to the tech college is the traditional high school has a very rigid schedule, right? The A day, the B day, the learning that they do is tied to seat time. So I have math every day for first period, and that has developed tends to develop obstacles for our students that want to come over to the tech college and to complete those pathways. So what this high school will do, and one of the things I'm so excited about, is it creates the ability for us to personalize each schedule for each student based on the pathway that they've chosen here. So because their math and their English and their social studies requirements for graduation won't be tied to seat time, right? It'll be tied to the work that they're doing here at tech college and the support that they're receiving from the high school and showing their learning that's not tied to seat time. We'll be able to ensure that our students can come to the tech college if that program requires that they're here all day on A day. We'll be able to meet their core needs on B day at the Pathways High School, right? So we'll be able to really personalize each student's schedule in a way that we never have before. And then the other thing that I'm just so excited about is that relevancy piece. So one thing that we're seeing in the high schools is our students, if they're connected, especially for our students that are really invested in, there are students that like to go to the CTE classes, right? That's where they want to be, but they're not, what we're not seeing is that transferring to relevancy into their core work. So you know, when I was at Ogden High, I would find these students always in the machining class, but not seeing the relevancy of why I need to take English and why I need to take it. What this will do is it will create that relevancy, right? So now I'm tying the math and the English that I'm learning to my career pathway choice, and I have that relevancy. I'm able to show my requirements for English that I'm required to show to graduate from high school, but I'm doing it in a way that's relevant to the career choice. Excited about that. We've been working on this competency-based learning model for 2 years now, and it's something that the Tech College has been leading out, and chat about how you guys have been doing that, bring those businesses into the school. So it's super exciting, and
And I think that really is the big piece. There are early college charter high schools. Some of them are co-located on university or other college campuses. What makes this difference? This is the first one that the district has said we are going to have a project-based, competency-based curriculum for core requirements. The process for us to have our machining math, which is very high level trigonometry, recognized as math credit by the Utah State Board of Education is the level is extremely high. It is very, very difficult. However, in a competency-based model, it has nothing to do with seat time. It has to do with, is the student demonstrating high-level math skills? And we can show that they're demonstrating it, and they can use that towards the core requirement. This is going to be something that the rest of the state and probably the rest of the nation is going to say, how did you figure this out? And Ogden deserves to be doing this. This is something that's really exciting. One of the things that I love watching is Ogden School District does a great Student of the Month program. I follow that on Facebook, and great pictures of the staff going out and recognizing students either in their classroom or in front of the board. But the thing that really makes me excited is almost all of them, more often than not, they're either a graduate of Ogden, currently enrolled at Ogden-Weber Tech, or they're planning on going to Ogden. Just had a young man from, I don't remember which high school, 4.0 GPA, has already completed non-destructive inspection.
At the moment, he was a student of the month last month.
Ben Lomond High School. We have aerospace companies that send engineers to take NDI classes. They have bachelor's degrees or master's degrees. They were probably sitting next to this kid from Ben Lomond High School going, hey, give me a little help on this. That's the quality of students we have in our community. At the same time, we had a student that is, I can't remember the term. Post high, that works with our transition staff from one of our districts that is succeeding here at Ogden-Weber Tech. And so from the whole spectrum of students, we know that we're here to help them be successful. And this is just going to take that and ramp that up. We shared with you a couple of months ago what we're doing with Weber Adult Ed for those students, those adults who did not finish a high school diploma, and the tech ed certificate is their pathway to success. This is going to be bookended on the other end, on their pathway to success. So very excited about this. We could talk all day long about it. We need to let board members ask questions.
Which I love this story. How do you think it's going to affect the ACT? Making the ACT changing this model, and do we care? I mean,
So they would still engage in the ACT. They would still be preparing for the ACT. They would
still prepare them with the same.
yes, because the competency-based learning that they'll be doing is tied to the standards, and the ACT is written for those standards. So the focus will be on the skill development. I think the one difference is standardized testing. So as far as the interventions and the resources that we provide at the Pathways High School, that will be something that we want to include, right? So they will have the knowledge, right? Because they'll be building towards those standards. And in some cases, one thing that we see a lot in education is they're learning the standards and they're getting pays, but that's not transferring to the ACT transfer because of the relevancy and because the ownership on the part of the student isn't really there for all of our kids. And what I foresee happening with that ownership and with that relevancy, that transfer, right? Because essentially what we're doing is we're creating a high school that is supporting skills and how do I transfer knowledge? How do I transfer math to my career, to what I'm learning in English? So I see that as a support, but one thing that we will work on sure that we're doing is supporting our students and preparing for the ACT for that standardized test model, but that's really very small.
It'll be interesting to see if this group of students and actually maybe improve that, right? Because typically they're just doing this rote learning that is probably not translating in a good ACT. They probably don't have.
It's that
Probably not
high-
that
high
step
level
for them,
skill that
right?
allows that transfer to happen. It's a
It'd be interesting to track if you have the ability to track that, to see if that provides that group of students with maybe a better path there.
Like the math class, the applied math class, they're learning the math, they actually see what the Pythagorean theorem is used for,
Right.
and they understand and can apply it. It's gonna be powerful.
More engaged in the learning.
Right, they're confronted with a problem. they'll navigate that even if they can't see it.
Done any validation with employers who might hire these students for graduation? What are their thoughts on this? I mean, these are pretty young kids who are going to get jobs potentially.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's really the work and the support in the tech college, as we move forward. with Burning their certifications, at the type of.
Well, as one of those employers, like our poster child, not child, but poster child, the employee is someone who's gone to the tech college and during their high school years and hire them before they graduate. But that is really the ideal. We hire machinists. So that's a powerful combination when you get a motivated kid that way.
And that's we're hearing that universally from all of our employers. And we're hearing that from our university partners saying, the students who already have a tech certificate, the reason why they graduate on time is they already know what they want to do. They have experience and it's easier for them to apply it. The other data point I want to share with you is something that Slade sent us. It was some data from Zions Bank. And it shows all the different age groups who are exiting the workforce. There's one group that is entering the workforce greater than anybody else because everyone else is kind of ditching. And it is 16 to 19-year-olds. That tells us we have to increase the number of individuals who graduate with a tech certificate. The Utah Board of Higher Education actually sets a goal for us on the number of secondary students who graduate already having a tech college certificate and how many get it within a year of graduating. Because that's why they have, hey, we are paying for the tuition, or it's tuition free. The legislature funds us so that we don't charge tuition to secondary students, and they want it to be more than just exploration. They want to see, can we get more students who complete this so they can start on a stackable credential or start a career? And I mean, this is really going to, we're going to be able to see, is this going to make a huge difference? And we'll track the number of our students. How many of them are going on to employment? How many are going on for a stackable credential? How many of them don't do either? We'll be able to report that back to you. That's a great question.
One of the spaces in the building we're talking about redesigning is for industry partners to come in and do demonstrations, work with students and invite them in. And that's one of the things I'm most excited about this, as well as meeting the needs of our community, meeting the needs of our business partners. Because where the students will end up being so exciting.
And I would encourage you to put those needs on the new Utah Adopt a School program, because you can, as K-12, that, put your needs on there. And that's, for anybody that doesn't know, the governor just announced Adopt a School, where taking predominantly K-12 needs and matching those with industry. And then the goal is to have at least 1,000 industry partners participating in a year's time. They said at Strawberry the day before. And so you can put those needs and have that Monroe School hopefully maybe adopted by industry to support that. Yeah.
And for our two new board members, one of the projects that we have with Ogden School District and soon Weber School District is we have an early morning industrial automation program. Where students come to Ben Lomond and Ogden High at 7 a.m. 5 days a week and learn advanced automation skills. So they're learning programmable logic controllers, robotics, things that are really needed and in our industry. That is 100% pushed by our employer partners. When students enroll in that, they meet with 5 of the largest manufacturing employers in Northern Utah. And when they complete the program, they meet with those same 5 and they say, great, we're ready to hire you. So it's very much industry driven. We already have that template for employers really coming in and adopting. And so our ask for you, and please continue to ask questions, but our ask is that the Ogden School Board has already approved finances to remodel this building. This building was built as a youth correction facility. And so it does need some remodel so it can be used as a educational space. It has really good bones. It's a very, very sound building. It has great HVAC, but it's going to need some substantial remodel for it to be an educational facility and not look like a youth corrections facility. Our portion of this is we sign, because we own the building and we own the land, we sign a 25-year lease allowing them, and in that MOU, it says this is how the building's going to be used. They invest the funds to remodel it. We sign the lease saying you have access to this building over a 25-year period. It's not going to take us 25 years to find that this is working really well. In fact, we've already been asked, what are you going to do when you have more than 300 people that want to access this building? That's a good headache to have, right?
Yes.
And we may need to get to that. And we're talking about what we're doing with our master plan in terms of how do we expand beyond 300 students?
Are you looking for a motion?
Yes.
I want to jump in.
Yes.
Can I even tell
Trustee
you
Blair.
You want me to? do this time?
Entertain a motion for the approval of the college to proceed with the development of the innovative high school on OTEC's main campus.
Okay, I even jotted this down so I can. Okay, this is exciting. I'm excited to do this. I move that we approve the proposal for the partnership between the Ogden-Weber Technical College and the Ogden School District Pathways High School, where district students will attend pathways on the main campus of OTEC.
Nancy. Orianne, appreciate it. Any further discussion? All in favor?
I would.
You better. We got it covered here. Very enthusiastically. All in favor?
Just worry about the
Aye. Any opposed, dare you? Okay. Motion carries. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
I just want to say real quick, thank you so much for the partnership that Chad and President Taggart, they've truly been partners from the ground up on this. And Chad's been on field trips with us. He's helped partner in how we're going to work this curriculum together and how we're going to cross the competencies and diploma. It's just been a real great partnership, and I'm super excited for this. So thank you.
Thanks, Superintendent.
You're more than welcome to stay, but we're doing business stuff. So if you want to.
And we can use
This was exciting. Joyce.
We can give you some to-go boxes if you want to take some grapes from our culinary students. Some of them are from Ogden School District.
Hey, Chair Wardle, if I could just make a quick
Yes.
comment, would that be all right? I just want to thank Superintendent and his team and congratulate you and the Ogden-Weber team. We've got some great pockets of excellence around the state in engaging high school students with technical education and particularly the technical colleges. And Ogden-Weber Tech has really been leading the way along with the school district. And so thank you for what you're doing. And I hope that as you have some success, as well as some lessons learned, that you'll talk it up and share it with your peers around the state. We need more of this kind of stuff. And there's lots of great models out there, but I think there's some lessons that we can learn from this that will help in a lot of other areas. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jared. Thanks, Jared.
Thanks, Heather.
Yeah.
Thanks, Luke. Yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Oh, that's good stuff. Good. All right, next item on the agenda is approval to sunset the HIPAA privacy requirements and new employee orientation. Maria, you're on it.
This is going to be much less exciting, but it's really short. We have two policies that in our routine review, we found were either redundant or unnecessary for our situation, and we'd like to sunset them. The first is the HIPAA policy that we created as a response to the HIPAA privacy rule. At the time, we were just covering our bases, but as we reviewed it, because we're not a covered entity under HIPAA, we just don't need a policy. We don't handle private personal health information. So that's the first. The second is our new employee orientation policy, which we created as a way to meet our COE requirement of documenting and showing that we have new employee orientation procedures in place. However, our HR team has recently revamped our orientation. It's now all done online through our payroll provider. So it's really easy for us to now document that it's being done consistently for each employee. So again, it's just made this policy redundant. So we feel that we are ready to get rid of them.
Process of how these policies are reviewed and updated and done away with, something that would make a best practice in our business. So thank you, Maria. I'll entertain a motion for sunsetting the HIPAA requirements and also updating the new employee orientation policy. Well, thank you. Second. Okay, thank you, Christine. Any further discussion? Any opposed? Carries.
Mr. Chair, if I could just interject here real quick. Many of you of our existing trustees and to our new trustees, Maria is manages our marketing department and is also our public information officer. And so all the amazing social media things you see, our annual report, even the presentation I gave to the legislature, her and her team do that for us. She also serves as the chair of our policy team, which is made up of employees from across the college. And she's done a phenomenal job with that. In the past, we'd have the vice presidents present new policies or revisions to policies or deleting policies. And we realized really the chair of the policy team should be presenting that. And that gives our trustees exposure to the great other leaders that we have here at the college. And Maria really is one of our star. So thank you, Maria.
Right prior to this meeting, the audit committee met and we went through the results of the fiscal year 2021 audit. Vice President Call, would you like to make any comments on the audit? I think the information from that audit has been provided in your board packet.
Yeah, actually, we just have the memo in your packet, but we're happy to send that out to you in email. And for those of you that are new, this is probably the most exciting thing you'll hear all year.
You need to get out more.
Love your passion, Tyler. And love this.
Honestly, though, for those of you that are new, this is different timing. We usually don't talk about the audit right now. So to be discussing an audit in February is new to us because we usually have our audit in August and put on it to the board of the audit committee in September. But this most recent year, we had our accounting director retire in the last week of the fiscal year, which was the last week of June. And about a month later, we had another person. And there's only 3 in the finance office. And so it's kind of funny because I was going really quick to try and replace the accounting director and hire somebody new. And I still remember talking to our new accounting director saying, you think we're still going to be able to pull the audit off in September? And not only did we not do that, but there was a learning curve and it's been somewhat challenging, but they have done a phenomenal job. And really, despite my apprehension, things went better than I expected. There was a lot to learn for a whole new team. And so a little bit rougher than normal, but substantially. The audit went well. We had under the required disclosures document here that we can share with you. had a unmodified opinion, if that means anything to any of you. That means that there was no special things they needed to report in the audit. But the most important thing that I want to share with you is there was some misstatements that they did. Basically, those are journal entries that they proposed that we had to do that needed to be done or to correct the financial statements. That's not new to us either. We've had usually every audit will have a handful of misstatements, but this year there were 3 that had to do with capital assets, and as a result, they felt like there should be a finding, and we labeled that as a material weakness and internal controls as it relates to capital assets. And so we're happy to learn from that, and we're currently implementing new processes and procedures to make sure that we fix those areas. And quite frankly, I do think a lot of it really ties back to the fact that it was new people who don't know the process and all the limits. And I'm not trying to make excuses or say that it's not something that we're taking serious, because it certainly is. But all in all, things went well, and you have access to that report.
So we will be emailing the audit report to you, the auditor's office, and for our new trustees, as a state entity, we are audited annually by the state auditor. The state auditor does release that and makes it a public document, but we will be sending, it's their audit of Ogden-Weber Tech, so they're the ones that make it public, but we will send a copy of that to each one of our board members for your review. Again, a really good learning process for our new team, and we are looking forward to going back to the same audit cycle. So in 6 months, 6 or 7 months, we will actually be going to another audit, and that'll be a good opportunity to see in terms of we'll be able to correct some of the areas where they had us do journal entries. And there were things like the land and building that we purchased. The 5 acres in the building that we are talking about for this new Pathway High School, should it have been booked as a building or as property? And we purchased both, but you can only book it one way.
We booked it all as a building, and they proposed that we identify it as land. And the difference is you depreciate buildings and you don't depreciate land. So in this case, the financial statements were understated because we were depreciating it, but so our net assets were a little less than but it's just those types of things. As you've worked in the audit field, with auditors in your profession, there's a lot of back and forth, and sometimes the auditor you get one year has a different opinion of things, and the auditor the next year feels a little bit differently about it. And sometimes we deal with that and we just negotiate it tactfully and we learn from it and move on. But not to say we don't agree with everything or anything, but sometimes there is a different way of viewing these things.
I recommend that you write it up in plain English for Bryn, because all the grants are going to ask her to explain the findings. And if you can get ahead of that, it would probably be helpful.
Great point.
Yeah.
I thought your explanation was pretty good. The attachment that you put on there.
Yeah, and I don't think these guys got that. The audit committee got it. So we provided some detailed explanation for all of the misstatements to the audit committee.
We need a motion for approval of the 2021 audit. Yeah, thank you for a second. Any just further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? There's Cameron. Cameron. Vice President Call. I know this is going to take some time, so why don't you jump into item number 8.
Tuition and fees, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And actually, I don't know that it'll take a whole lot of time, but okay. I was like, okay, how much time is it going to take on this?
I was kidding. Walk it off then.
We are proposing no changes to our tuition or our fees for fiscal year 23 as outlined in the memo. Our current clock hour tuition rate is $2 per clock hour, and then you see the fees listed in the memo. There are some things coming up for fiscal year 24, though, that we will be analyzing and addressing both internally and as a system within Utah system of higher education and the tech colleges specifically. There's a proposal to change our tuition from per clock hour to per credit hour. And that will require us to account for tuition differently. There's also been a study and a request by the state auditor's office with the degree granting institutions to change general fees to tuition. And we do have general fees that we charge to students as part of the enrollment and enrollment here at the college. And so we'll be looking at that in the big picture and making some recommendations as to what our new tuition rates need to be in fiscal year 24. But for 23, we're. Any questions on that?
So we on this, no change.
I mean, you probably all thought I was really technical when I made that motion. When we do our motions at Ogden, our Ogden board, we have to be, we just say it all out and we're very technical. And I'm like, so I'll move to approve this, but I guess that's all you have to do. You don't have to give a big spill. Okay.
Tina takes care of it on the back.
All right.
We appreciate it.
We got called on the carpet for it. I mean, we were like, you
that
have
a-
to, like, say it all out. and-
Robert's rules to the nth degree.
Yes,
Well,
See it on
trustee
the
Blair,
other
to
board
that
memo.
point, the Utah Board of Higher Education actually writes out what the motion should be and puts it up. If it's a public meeting, they actually put the motion up and have a trustee read that. That's something that we'll look at. And if that's something the trustees would like, we can come prepared
Okay.
with.
Because I was thinking,
that.
you must have thought I was an overachiever.
That's.
but-
And on that one, it was very.
Yes, it
I don't
was
wanna-
That's a great best practice that we will implement. Thank you.
See, next meeting.
Next meeting.
Yes. Okay, Nancy, that was you're gonna make the motion. Can we have a second? Thank you. And any other discussion about the vote to approve the no change of the fiscal year 23 tuition and fees? In favor, say aye. Thank you.
Is that long enough?
Yeah, it was. Vice President Schwenk, have some update for us on
I
the student
do.
satisfaction survey?
I do. We like to take the temperature of our students and see how they're doing, how they're feeling, and how they perceive that we're serving them. And so for quarters 1 and 2, you'll have the results on the memo. We survey students all along their educational journey, but no more than 6 are given to prevent that fatigue, but just to check in and see how they're doing. So to date, we've sent over 3,100 surveys out. And we had an 11.4% response rate. They rate on a scale of 1 to 10. So 9 and 10 are the highest. And that says, you know what? I love it. I would recommend the college to my friends and family. We know how important word of mouth is. And then if they're 7 or 8, it's kind of passive. They're okay. Kind of that, you know, warm, but not hot. If they're 6 or lower, that's called a detractor. And that means they just weren't happy and we need to address it. So as you look through, you can see the overall net promoter score was 8.6. So we're not in our, we call that the yellow zone. We're not in the green. They're like both thumbs up. But you can see the different departments and how they are rated. Our certificate leavers continue to be the lowest, and that's stands to reason. They weren't happy for some reason and they left. So we had 21 respondents. I went back through and looked at those. If they indicate that they want to be contacted, Vice President Birchall or I make personal phone calls to them. It's not delegated to anyone else but us. So we call and follow up with the students. So when I looked at these survey responses, you know, it's a little bit of everything. I didn't have them I didn't have enough time. The schedule wasn't flexible enough for me. I decided that's not really what I want to do. I have family obligations and I'm not able to be there. So, nothing that makes us feel like we failed somewhere. You're always going to have some students who just are not happy with where they're at, and that's okay. We hope that they'll come back, and we're addressing it if they allow us. This is good practice to have, but it also fulfills our accreditation, our accreditation standards to make sure that we're checking in with students. They carried that for almost a year and they were really concerned. I mean, to be in the green zone, Vice President Burchell and I really promote that. We talk about it with our team. So when they're in the yellow zone, which is not bad, it just means, it's okay. It was all right. It was fine. They take that seriously. They want to be in the green zone. They want to be 9 and above. And so we're always looking at that. Another thing that we do is for the passive ones that are like, we're looking at those surveys in our staff meeting once a month to say, okay, we're not in the green zone with these students. And are there just little tweaks that we can make that will increase that student experience?
And to just interject, what Monica is talking about with green, yellow, and red zones is that the data that dashboards that our student services and our instructional officers, our instructional faculty pull up is all the raw data is there. It's color coded, just like you've seen.
So 9 and 10, that's the green zone. That says, did it. Passive is the yellow. 6 and below, that's the red zone. It means we missed the mark. You're not happy.
And just think about when you fill out a survey, right? I mean, most of the time, those yellows are, you did the job. You did what I was expecting you to do. The greens are, you did something that I wasn't expecting. Like you called me and asked how my schedule was going, or that's typically what moves people into that 9 and 10. Oh man, that was awesome. And then the same on the red side. It's you've done something that took away from what they were expecting. And those are the reasons Monica and I call, is to say what happened and help us understand why you rated us the way you did and what can we do to make sure it doesn't happen again. So
really understanding the voice of the customer is something that Chad started when he was Vice President for Student Services and been implemented when he became the Vice President for Instruction. So in traditional higher education, you have an end of course Scantron that you fill out. Student has left, they never fill that out. And you're getting cherry picked data from the people who survived the course. And so you're not really getting the data. So this is really is a temperature check throughout. And on our instructional side as well. I want to know, how are things going at the first month, at the second month? Or if a student is not doing well in their progress, we target and say, what's going on? What can we do different? So I appreciate all of our vice presidents making sure that there are a lot of data points you can look at, but very few do really good ongoing data. Just kind of say, wow, we have enough students graduating, we're doing an okay job. And this is something, having real-time data that we took from our industry partners, real-time data that they can look at, that's open to everybody. So a machining instructor can see what's going on in business tech and go, you know what, they're all green. I'm not. What can I need to go talk to them? What are they doing? And those visual cues are important.
I have a question.
So I know we want to shoot for green.
So we check their temperature every month. Or
Yes.
halfway through the curriculum or?
Well, for us, for student services, we're surveying 6 times in a year. And so, correct?
Up to 6
Up
times.
to 6 times.
That'd be the
And there's
cap.
triggers, like they went into enrollment or had a counseling visit, and so that will trigger a survey. And so they can look at this every day if they want to. But leadership looks at it every month. Like my leadership team, all my direct reports that are over enrollments and counseling, we're looking at that to say, where are our teams on the survey scale?
So you can help move it to groom.
Yes, exactly.
Questions? President, how's things at the legislature?
Well, as Trustee Edwards can tell you, the legislative process is not for the timid. But this has actually been a very, very good year. Legislators will tell you it's more challenging for them in years when they have more money. It's easier in years that they don't have a lot of money because they can say, we have no money and we're going to move forward. I can tell you that those of you who read the paper, the state is doing very well economically, and tax revenues are coming in higher than even anticipated. However, there is a lot of caution, and we agreed that there should be caution. A lot of the money that has been infused in the state is coming from a lot of federal dollars, and we're experiencing that ourselves with a lot of additional dollars. And so the legislature has really asked government agencies, asked counties and municipalities to treat these dollars as one time. Do not treat this as ongoing, because we know that it's not sustainable. We know that the state is going to be investing a lot in one-time dollars, but we feel very strongly about some of our requests that we have within the system of higher education. For the technical colleges, we are still going and requesting money for specific programmatic growth and capacity issues. The Ogden-Weber Tech request that we had our board approved and the Board of Higher Education approved is a $1.37 million request. It's going to help us with a number of areas that we know that we need to expand because we have waiting lists. Areas like apprenticeship. We have a demand to now offering our business courses in Spanish. We've been doing that in partnership with the Utah Hispanic Chamber, and we've been doing it with the Suazo Center. We've just been piecemealing it. We now need to have a full program that we can deliver in Spanish. We have needs for instructional coach, a new program in controls operation, which is a subset of our industrial automation program. We have found needs that we need to provide more better access to support our students in areas of mental health. We are sorely in demand of a grant writer. Brenda does a phenomenal job as a grant writer. She also has about 12 other full-time jobs that we have her do. Most development directors are not also a full-time grant writer. And so we've put that in there. Our IT infrastructure folks are people that run our IT department that support the college internally, not our training program. We are in high demand for some position that is dedicated only to cybersecurity. And we have cybersecurity training programs, but there's a bill going out right now from Senator Andre that talks about our educational entities. What are you doing to secure your student data? And student data is actually a high risk area. Every day there are workforce attacks against every institution, and we need to have a dedicated person that can do cybersecurity and protect sensitive data. We need some additional student support services for wraparound services because we know that does increase retention and completion. Some things that we want to do with our applicant tracking to streamline some of our HR and some other programmatic areas, including we are at the point now where we need to start transitioning much of our automotive. electric vehicle and hybrid. Some components, but we need to expand it much faster. And we're having more and more manufacturers saying by 2026, we will only produce EV vehicles. We have to get on the forefront of training our doesn't mean that our combustion engines are going to go away overnight. But if we're not prepared for that now, we're not serving our students in the. We feel that those are going to be funded at 100%. At least that's the indication that we're getting. We also have a request for $623,000 in one-time equipment. All of our programs are in. So we feel strongly about that. But our number one priority within the system, not only at Ogden-Weber Tech, but all 16 institutions, is compensation. The base bill that the legislature passes at the beginning of the session has a 3.5% increase for state employees. We feel that that was going to go through, and there has been discussion of additional funding either across the board or for targeted areas. The legislature knows that our state employees are struggling, even with moderate inflation. 3.5% increase doesn't help most state employees stay even with moderate inflation. So they've talked about wanting to make a more significant impact, helping really not a lot of additional legislation that's going to have anything but a positive impact on the college. One of the things I will share with you is that there is a bill that has passed both the Senate and the House, which puts in statute what higher education performance funding goals are for the next 5 years. This is the last year that we will be going for market demand and program expansion dollars. Starting in fiscal 24, we are under a performance structure, just like the other universities, the degree granting institutions. And we prefer that. That is the more appropriate way for us to be funded. And then we use our performance dollars to look at what are the areas that we need to grow and to expand. We should be funded on performance. And that incentivizes us not to just be growing, but to make sure students are having a meaningful experience, that we're retaining them. So we're looking forward to that. And we appreciate Senator Milner and her efforts in pushing that forward. I will tell you, and if you'll just give me a moment, as I look at board member Anderson, her father, Haven Barlow, passed away a few weeks ago. And when we talk about how we reap the benefits of a year where we're requesting $1.5 million in ongoing dollars, it wasn't always that way. The very first champion for technical education in the state of Utah for ongoing funding was Senator Haven Barlow. Without Senator Haven Barlow, I don't know that we would have the robust technical college system that we have today. All the technical colleges that existed at the time, and there were 2 or 3 of us, were being funded off of state and federal block grants. And it was month to month. And we didn't even know if they were going to exist in the following year. Haven Barlow recognized the value of technical education, that we needed a full educational experience, and technical education was not being met in the state of Utah. He championed that. He championed all of education, but really he is the father of technical education in the state of Utah. So we took a moment in a lot of different meetings to recognize the impact that Haven had. At Ogden-Weber Tech, he's a member of our Hall of Fame. There are buildings named after him at Davis Tech. He helped found Davis Technical College, found the property, helped make sure that Davis Technical College could exist, and helped ensure that Weber State could become a university and the establishment of the Weber State University Davis campus, which is their growth area, right? I was surprised to learn that there are more students from Davis County that attend Weber State University than Weber County.
Isn't that great?
Just Lee, don't change the name. It's got to stay Weber State University.
Could I just say something for a minute? I just, first of all, I think you're very generous to Dad. I mean, he didn't do it alone. He had a lot of tremendous help, and he was very, very happy to see how the system has developed and the impact it's having today. But I just wanted to thank you for the beautiful flowers you sent to me personally and also to the family, and appreciate your thoughtfulness in recognizing him.
Thank you. And that's our legislative report.
What's going on? That's years ago, who would have thought we would be in this position, but always grateful, but there's definitely some challenges. Next on the agenda is the informational items that were provided in the board packet. Is there any questions or discussions about those items? None. The open discussion, any other items that need to be discussed today? Steve, we welcome you. We have a oath of office for you. We'll do it after the close of the
I'm so
meeting.
sorry. I didn't know where to park and I didn't want to get a ticket.
We know people that can get that taken care of.
There's no tickets here.
I didn't want
Weber State.
No designated.
That's on me for not sharing with you that the trustees can never get ticketed. Or towed.
Oh, I don't know how to.
You're just fine.
There are signs everywhere.
We're so grateful for you being here, and I gave you a stellar introduction.
Oh, my goodness. That's good.
But we're grateful to have you here, and we'll issue your oath of office.
Perfect. Okay, if there's no other discussion, our next meeting is April 28th. So is there a motion to adjourn? Graham, we're finished. Good stuff today.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Jared,
that's online.
Wesley, Cameron, we appreciate you joining with us.
Yep, thanks.